Commissioner Maynard, very compelling testimony you've given us today. How many other departments other than National Defence have you been forced to take to court?
Only one. It was TMC.
Okay. And just on one case?
Yeah.
And so in the time that you've been commissioner since 2018 or before, how many times have you had to do this?
It's the first, well, first of all, the authority to issue orders has only started in 2019, so it took us about maybe a year or two to start having files where we issued orders. We're seeing an increasing number of orders. This year I've issued 298, something like that. And then all of a sudden, most of the time institutions are complying, or they go to court to contest the orders, which is what the Act allows. But in 3 cases now, 2 against National Defence and 1 against TMC, I had to issue or ask for a mandamus to force the institution to respect the order.
So in you also said that this is undermining your authority and undermining the Access to Information Act. And so for a government that says that they are going to bring more transparency, what's your take on this? Like, is this, are they doing this because they're trying to cover up information? Is it embarrassing? Why would we be in the situation where an officer of Parliament is forcing ministers to go to court?
It has an impact on definitely the authority itself and on the credibility of the access request, because we're seeing longer delays, and now we're seeing departments either taking the orders in court or ignoring the orders so that they take extra time to respond to access requests that should have been responded within 30 days or within an extension that is legal.
So I have some historic ATIPs that were never completed. I got one that dates back to that we filed back on October 13th, 2017, just asking for a policy change document. We've got one back in 2018 just asking for, information surrounding national shipbuilding strategy, which, you think would be pretty easy to come by. Looking for, records and hospitality expenses of an employee, looking for information on, an Auditor General report and the correspondence that went back. And we're talking, I got 6 here that go back from 2017 to 2019. Should I have filed these with you to force the, as a member of Parliament, I don't know if I have that capability to come to you and say, okay, make the department report. And we only, on some of these, are only starting hearing back from the department in the last couple of months. And they still haven't given us the information.
I was going to ask you, do you have complaints with my office? I don't think we do.
Should I?
Well, the process is there for that. And there's a timeline in the Act, and then if you don't get an answer within 30 days or within an extension that is taken legally, you have the right to make a complaint within 60 days of knowing why you want to make that complaint. So you have a right to complain to my office.
So is this being... because it's the department or the minister, or are they incapable? Are they incompetent? Is it a lack of leadership, or is it a political scandal and cover-up?
There's a lot of factors that affects a department's ability to respond. There's, like I said earlier, information management, the culture of the department, lack of resources, a lack of tools. All of these, often the leadership has an impact as well.
Do you believe that what's happening in national defense, you got 3 court cases now that you've had to bring against the minister. Is this systemic? Is this the new modus operandi that they're going to continue to try to block you rather than be compliant with the legislation?
I really hope not.
Okay, we'll have to watch to see what happens. Commissioner Salloway, you talked about that people within departments that are coming forward with information and complaints, that there is reprisals happening from their higher-ups. And when I look at the Department of National Defense, and we do have, one, we do want to make sure that whistleblowers are protected, but there is things like the National Defense Act, the Security Information Act, and the non-disclosure agreements, which are being used now to hush people up as well. Is that undermining whistleblowers coming forward when they are seeing wrongdoing within the Department of National Defense, the Canadian Armed Forces?
I'm going to defer to Brian to answer that question, having been here only 4 months. I have not been around long enough to detect patterns. Over to Brian.
Fear of reprisal is definitely an issue, and perhaps as it was alluded to before, when the internal disclosure regime does not work very well, it affects the entire disclosure regime. We do have jurisdiction over the Department of National Defense, but not the Canadian Armed Forces. However, we can investigate members of Canadian Armed Forces alleged to have taken reprisals. The consequences at the end of the process may be a little bit different for them in that they are not public servants under the Act. But indeed, it adds to the fear of coming forward with information, as does the fear that nothing will be done if I come forward with information.
So a CAF member can come to your office and still get a fair hearing?
No, a member of the CAF can provide us information as any member of the public
Can, okay.
can
But
with
that's
respect
only
to wrongdoing.
So you're strictly with D&D employees?
D&D employees with respect to wrongdoing, D&D employees with respect to making a reprisal complaint. People alleged to have taken a reprisal can, however, include a CAF member.